Yeah, boss, we'll get him.
Party rockin', as some would say.
I made a horrible nightmare.
But a fascinating question nonetheless.
You guys want to watch Limitless sometime?
You guys want to do this?
I have an answer, and it's so good and dumb.
Time to get math blasted.
Zoom is not a gentle lover, and you know that.
I also was trying to think of a boat horn joke.
What if Zoom just wants to give you soft kisses?
My note of Weezer song name puns.
I'm good for the slop.
I popped in. It's such a weird time.
I feel like we've done that already.
The time wasn't is, it was when.
Let's do this. All right, here we go.
Hello and welcome to Avenge This, a show where if we can't predict the twist, you can be damn sure we'll avenge it. Hey, do you remember 8 whole years ago when Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out? Do you remember the black and white Spider variant in a trench coat called Spider-Noir? Yeah, the one voiced by Nic Cage. Well, did you know that Amazon Prime ordered an 8-episode live-action series starring Nic Cage? Would you believe me if I told you it was actually pretty good? Well, believe it or not, it was. It was pretty good. So good that I convinced fellow Marvel sicko Todd, Thomas, to get all up in here to talk about it. Todd, your thoughts on Amazon Spider-Man Noir?
Yeah, see is the exact descriptor of kind of how this went. First off, 8 years ago. Wild.
Yeah.
Also worth noting that since 8 years ago, we are still like a year away from getting the conclusion of that trilogy, which is its own thing.
Yeah.
I went into this with expectations cratered into the ground. Just no expectations of this being good or fun or enjoyable whatsoever. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's kind of the thing that if I was trying to get an older relative into a Marvel adjacent property, I would be like, hey, do you like detective shows? Is this something you'd be interested in? Because like this is a noir era detective story with like 15 to 20% Spider-Man things going on.
Yeah, which honestly, to my understanding, is pretty much what the Spider-Man Noir comic books is. You know, it's like 80% noir crime thriller with about 20% Spider-Man. To be completely honest, I haven't read any of the source material, but I was right there with you. Like my expectations for this, even as an avid fan of Nicolas Cage and superhero movies, my expectations were on the ground. So much so that when it came out, I didn't even really want to watch it because I just assumed it would be really rough. And it was really like the lack of memery that I experienced of it that I was like, well, okay, I don't hear about everybody hating it, so it must not be so bad that it's something to write home about. And then I think you were the first person I asked if you had seen it. And on your recommendation, I went into it. And I tell you what, this might be my favorite Marvel TV show we've gotten in like 3 or more years. I really, really liked this. And I agree with you that like if I had an older relative or just somebody who was not on the Marvel sauce in 2026 to be like, hey, do you want to enjoy a Marvel thing that has zero homework required and will not in any way relate to what is happening in theaters? This would be the perfect on-ramp. And not even on-ramp, just like the perfect little contained experience.
Yeah, listeners, you can't see me nodding through everything Matt just said, but absolutely. I would say more, but I know what is coming next, and I want to hold some ammo back for that.
Yeah, so in other episodes of Avenge This, we've been doing this thing we call a Disney Vader pitch, which we stole from a premium show that you can get on our Patreon if you're into that sort of thing. Patreon.com/debatethiscast, where we just try and like sum up the plot as quickly as we can. We call it a Disney Vader pitch because it's an elevator pitch and it's like a Disney thing. But this isn't Disney. This is Amazon Prime. So today, Todd, I'm not asking for your Disney Vader pitch. Today, I'm asking for your Amazon Prime primer. I need your Prime primer. Prime all over me.
Yeah,
if
I hate that.
If you were to give somebody the primer for what happens in Spider-Man Noir in as few words as possible, what would you prime your primer with?
Nic Cage is a detective and also has spider powers. Like, that's just kind of the whole thing. I mean, anything outside of that is just kind of set dressing. I suppose you can add in there like noir era would be 2 more words I'd probably sprinkle in there somewhere, but I think I get out of there in under 10 words.
I think you do, and I think that's a pretty apt description. This is one of the most by the books noir crime dramas I think I've ever seen, and it's like, this isn't a Marvel thing that has the flavor of noir. This is the noir thing that has the flavor of Marvel.
100%. That is such a good way to describe it, because that is what I took away from it. Because I mean, I'm a little freak. I went in thinking like, oh, I can't wait for all the Marvel set dressings here, and there's just like not, aside from the love interest being identified as Cat Hardy, that you're like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing there. Like Black Cat, Felicia Hardy combined into one Cat Hardy. Like, cool, I get that. And that the Spider-Noir is Ben Reilly, which I don't know if that's how Spider-Man Noir like normally. I don't think Ben Reilly is normally Spider-Man Noir. That's just what they went with, because I think Spider-Man Noir either typically is nameless or Peter Parker or irrelevant, where like Ben Reilly is the Scarlet Spider, like a clone of Peter Parker who does not handle being a clone very well. But I digress. So yeah, this is definitely, they put the noir first and they just added Spider-Man as like, no, come watch it. Come watch it. It's good. Come here.
Yeah, and that transitions well to my first question, which is Webster's dictionary describes noir as crime fiction featuring hard-boiled, cynical characters and bleak, sleazy settings. Do you think this show lived up to the title? Also, Amazon made this available in both black and white and true hue enhanced color. Which did you choose and why?
I'll go in reverse. Watched it in color. I, as an adult, just really struggle to enjoy films that are, typically older films are black and white. Like, I just have a hard time watching those. Like, an anecdote would be that my partner is very into a Christmas story, or not a Christmas story, but It's a Wonderful Life. And they always have the black and white version of that. And I just really struggle to watch that. So I embraced my full millennial and went in the true color. Man, for your first question, this is hard-boiled, cynical characters and bleak, sleazy settings. Everything about this is like the Dick Tracy gumshoe type that I feel like was characterized of that era of Nic Cage shows up and he's either going to punch his way through or talk his way through every situation, and he's going to try and be as cool as possible. Like, he's always in seedy places doing seedy things, and once those seedy things go sideways, maybe then he swings a web. But like, yeah, this absolutely hard-boiled and cynical is a way to describe this. And I'm so glad that the dictionary defines it that way, because it's apt.
Yeah, I don't know that I could have like told you the by the book definition of noir, but I certainly could have pointed to a picture of it, and then reading the by the book definition just affirmed all of the things that I thought. I watched this in black and white. I'm kind of the opposite. Like, if something was filmed for black and white, I always want to see it in black and white. I just really like black and white cinematography and contrast and that sort of thing. And I like the way that they directed this show. I think that it also probably came across really well in color. I didn't watch it in color, but I'm sure that it looked really good. In black and white, I thought that they did a really good job keeping things subtle. I feel as though trying to do a superhero show in black and white, it could get really easy to make superpowers look so overblown and silly that you lose what black and white cinematography is supposed to be, which is like about contrast and distance and shape and that sort of thing. And I think they did a really good job with that. I watched some dumb video on YouTube about somebody complaining about how Sandman looked in black and white, and I didn't feel that way at all. I thought he looked really cool. I thought Megawatt's electric powers looked really cool. Just overall, really dug it, really dug the vibe. And I feel like black and white or color, this show looked really good. And there's not a lot of icky CGI holding it back.
Well, it's funny that you say that because having watched it in color, like Megawatt's, electric power is about the most CGI of anything. So much of everything else, whether it is, Sandman's flaky skin or I guess Lonnie Lincoln's Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Tombstone's like scaly kind of crocodile like skin. Those are more often than not probably practical effects first. And so it's not like the coloring of the picture did a lot of heavy lifting because it was a fairly CGI light, outing, except for maybe the super spider soldier was like some horrendous nightmare combination of CGI and practical effects.
Yeah, that thing was crazy looking. And it was
was not ready.
No, not at all. It happened so fast and with so little warning, especially compared to what the rest of the show had portrayed at that point. I really liked a lot of the directing choices in this too. The way that people were shot in conversation where you could only see one person in the mirror, or, people were framed by cigarette smoke, or cameras were pointed through whiskey glasses. There were just a lot of really cool choices in this that made it stand out to me.
It just felt steeped in the era. Like what they were doing, they committed to it. They stuck to it. I would say kudos to the crew that put this together because in my mind, after Nic Cage was Spider-Man Noir, they were like, oh, everyone loved you doing that. Would you ever want to do a live action thing? And Nic Cage is like, yeah, but only if I can play me. Like, I'm going to be me.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man is afterwards. And they're like, yeah, sure, dude. This is your passion project. You get after it.
Yeah, that is exactly where I was going next here. Is I think it's worth noting that Amazon's Spider-Noir doesn't actually follow the same Peter Parker variant we saw back in 2018's Into the Spider-Verse. If you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter. Instead, we see 62-year-old Nic Cage suit up as the Spider and portray his alter ego, Ben Reilly. He's aided not by Jacob Batalon or Zendaya, but by Lamorne Morris as Robbie Robertson and Karen Rodriguez as Janet Ruiz. What did you think of this crew, these castings, and the performances? Also, just to get it out of the way, they probably can't call him Peter Parker because of rights issues. Sure. There's like one line in Spider-Noir where they say that Ben Reilly isn't actually his real name. So maybe it is Peter Parker. Who knows? Who cares? Anyway, what'd you think of the cast?
First off, I completely missed that line. I did catch the thing at the beginning where it was like something in the opening monologue was said about like, this is a strange universe, or like some nod to, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, someone once asked me what universe this is. What a strange question.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's the nod to like, yeah, we see where this came from. This isn't the same Spider-Noir. I liked this crew. And I'll tell you what, like once I got through, I did spend the first couple episodes being like, what Spider-Man character are these two people? I spent a lot more time than I probably should have on that because I'm Marvel pilled and my brain is broken. But once I got over trying to like typecast, like who could these people become, and just enjoying them as good supportive characters. Ben Reilly, the Spider-Noir, the Spider, does not deserve Robbie Robertson. Robbie Robertson got just his shit kicked in so many times for Ben Reilly, and good on him. Like if Nic Cage was trying to chew up the scenery as this like private eye gumshoe, then Lamorne Morris was like the fancy dressed man in like an orange cloak and an orange hat and showing up and like, pressing the flesh. And I thought that was so much fun. And I think Karen Rodriguez as Janet Ruiz, the like sassy, underpaid, but committed receptionist, was so good. And you talking about how they framed up a lot of the shots. There was like the one episode where I think it was like Silvermane's guys were roughing up the office. And like, what more gumshoe ass noir era thing is there than some thugs like just breaking shit in a detective's office to be like, we just wanted to get your attention.
Yeah.
And like, I think they did a good job. I think she was particularly a good standout. And I mean, I was thrilled, like, you know, we'll talk about, I'm sure, the conclusion and what, if anything, comes next. But I was thrilled to see like she maintained presence throughout the show. And should they decide to keep going because Nic Cage wants another small truck of money, then, you know, I think they'd all be back and they'd have a good time.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought that Lamorne Morris and Karen Rodriguez really made the show successful. Like, I love Nic Cage, and this was a really fun project to get to see Nic Cage shine in his weirdness in a plot and setting that asks for Nic Cage's weirdness, and it doesn't feel out of place. But I don't think that you can just do Nic Cage's weird in black and white for 8 episodes. And Robbie Robertson and Janet Ruiz really pulled the story together for me because it's the emotional element. I think the person I was the most blown away by was Lamorne Morris, who, if you're not familiar with by name, is Winston on New Girl. That's the biggest thing that I know him from. Robbie Robertson is a comic book character, not a super important one. He's just like a guy that works at the Bugle, and he's in some Spider-Man and some Daredevil stories. I think maybe the Netflix Daredevil like had some Easter egg for him. I don't know. But I liked that we got to see not only the story from his perspective, but also what he was up against in the world and what he was trying to accomplish. Like his character was goaling towards more than helping the Spider out. Like, he was trying to get his job back at the Bugle. He was trying to, you know, further his career. He's trying to help Lonnie. Like, it was just really interesting to see Lamorne Morris be a similar comedic actor to what I've seen him in elsewhere, but still carry the emotional weight of the performance. And I really liked that a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, we are going to cut for a quick cigarette break, but when we return, we'll talk about the villains of this show and call our shots for a potential season 2. Stay with us. We are gearing up to have a Southern Fried good time at the Southern Fried Gaming Expo from July 31st through August 2nd at Atlanta, Georgia. We will be doing a live show. We are super excited, and we do not have much information yet. As soon as we have a date and a time and a room and all that stuff about the live show, we'll let you know. But we're going to be there. We're going to be at this convention. You should come to this convention. It's in Atlanta, July 31st, August 2nd. That's the first date. And the last date, Atlanta, Georgia, Marriott Renaissance Waverly, Southern Fried Gaming Expo. We're going to be there, and we'll see you there, hopefully. And we're back talking about Spider-Man Noir. Nic Cage as Ben Reilly on a bed pretending to be a spider and holding all of his joints really tightly. Anyway, if you wanted comic names, then boy howdy did this show deliver with its rogues gallery. The roster includes Lee Jun Lee as Cat Hardy. We've got Abraham Papula as Tombstone, Jack Houston as Sandman, Andrew Lewis Caldwell as Megawatt, and my personal favorite, Brendan Gleeson as Silvermane. Todd, what did you think about these bad guys? And what did you think about the mafioso take on some of these characters that we've seen before?
I'll say it now, and I'll probably say it again later. So I'll start with this. I liked them. I think they did a good job. They kept it very grounded. That even though the main 3 villains that had powers, Tombstone, Sandman, and Megawatt, they didn't bust out the gate with them. And I mean, even Sandman, like in that first fight where he kind of reveals he's Sandman, it's not like he's becoming a building size Sandman.
Yeah.
Like they kept it they did a good job practicing restraint and keeping things grounded, and I think that made this fun. All three of these were good in different characters. I had to kind of decide if I liked Andrew Lewis Caldwell's Megawatt or if I hated him.
Yeah, man.
Because like the closest thing to someone looking straight into the camera and going, yeah, see, was him. And I think by the end I was like, you know what? I'm good with it because no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they needed one guy who's like, yeah, boss, we'll get him. Like they needed some guy to do that, and he did it, and he checked the box, and he gets to keep doing it.
He made the strongest vocal decisions that I've heard anyone make in a Marvel show in a long time.
Man. I like to think that he showed up day one for like filming and did that, and everyone's like, no, let him go.
Yeah.
Like, or the director was like, oh, that's too much. And before he could go and give him the note, Nic Cage was like, yes, more of that.
Yes.
Like, that's what he did that. And the director was like, yeah, man, I guess it's that then.
I guess. I have a personal anecdote. When I was in high school, I don't know, sophomore, junior year, I was in a musical and I was a part that only sang in a couple of songs, but I had a couple solos to sing, and it was a comedic part. And at one rehearsal, I was like pretty sick and probably shouldn't have been there, but I was singing my solo and my voice cracked really bad. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not feeling very well. And the music director was like, no, you should do it that way. You don't sound very good when you sing it. You should do it that way. So It sounds silly. And I was like, okay. I guess sometimes for the bit, it's worth it. And I feel like Andrew Lewis Caldwell committed his whole ass to just talking like this the whole time. The whole time he's just talking like this.
Matt, I gotta ask: were you the mayor of Munchkin City? Is that what your voice
No,
thing
I
was?
The Drowsy Chaperone is the name of the show, and I was like a butler character. I don't even remember the name. Yeah, it's a weird musical, but I do remember they wanted me to have my voice cracking a bunch. So
perfect, love that.
Yeah. Anyway, others. What did you think about Silvermane specifically? What did you think of him as the top line villain, the guy pulling the strings?
Yeah, thrilled they did what they did. I really liked that the big bad wasn't just like Wilson Fisk. Like like obviously he is a criminal, he's a mob boss, he's doing all this, but like he was doing everything in mob boss style of like having other people doing his dirty work, having various plans, like keeping, in this case, the hero closer than he probably realized, kind of thing. The other thing that I really liked is that they really leaned into those old detective movie tropes of like the big bad is in too deep with like everything until it's way too late.
Yeah.
And like they did the trope at the end where like I think Cat Hardy was the one that shot him in the end, if I'm remembering right.
Correct.
Like,
yes.
They did all the tropes in such a good way. And I really, really enjoyed that. What I also really enjoyed and what I came around on is that he didn't like reveal himself to be the Green Goblin or like do anything like that. Like Silvermane, he's a gangster boss who might actually be in the Noir comics for all I know, but he is a mob boss doing mob boss things who very clearly his demise was not being able to perceive the fact that Ben Reilly was the Spider and that they were never in the same room at the same time until he was pretending to be in the same room at the same time.
Todd, I'm going to drop a picture of Silvermane from the comics in our notes. And I just want you to live react to this picture of Silver. Oh, it's huge. Well, that's what you're looking at. It's gigantic.
Oh, that's a robot man.
Yeah, he's a robot man.
Robot
yeah.
man.
Robot man. That's Silvermane from the comics. He's like a old guy. He is typically like a, gangster mafia type guy, but
sure.
He's obsessed with immortality. He just wants to live forever. And that turns him into a cyborg.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like a quick Google search shows that he might be in the Spider-Noir comics as a gangster.
Sick. Okay.
And then yeah, his counterpart is a robot. But I loved that they didn't, like, I would have been mad if we would have gotten to the end and be like, ha, I'm a robot. Like,
yeah.
I'm glad that they practiced that restraint, which I'm gonna keep saying, practicing that restraint, because as we talk about speculation, I feel like the ability to practice restraint will be a struggle if they're gonna do a season 2.
Well, let's move on to talking about a season 2. Nothing has been confirmed. We don't know if there's going to be a season 2. This sounds like a show that they're going to say a season 2 is coming, and then we'll never get it, if I had to guess. But I've been wrong many a times before. We've got Mephisto now. Anything's possible. So, Todd, if we were to get a season 2 of Spider-Man Noir, what would you like to see in it?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. So before we recorded, I did some quick searching. Obviously, this has been talked about. Nic Cage has been asked about it, and he said he's interested, but I guess like his busy schedule, which, side note, I don't know what all Nic Cage is doing nowadays, but like busy enough to like not be able to pin down another season of this. But couple things. Some of the major players are already like not locked in, but they've got them signed in their contract for a second season. So like the actress who played Cat Hardy, she's already signed on that if they do a second season, she's in. Nic Cage has said that he is interested, but it's a scheduling thing to see if it happens or not. One of the things Nic Cage said, though, or was implied in the conversation, was that if they do a season 2, it's gonna be more comic booky. I think that what I kept saying, practice restraint. I fear that if we get a season 2, it's gonna be like the new big bad is Norman Osborn. Like they're gonna like, for all the subtlety they worked through season 1, I fear that will be the biggest. That'll be the biggest loss if they go to a season 2, is that there's just not going to be the restraint. They're going to say, how do we introduce the rival, detective Eddie Brock? Like they're going to do something wild. But again, that also, who knows what rights are. What I will say is that if they do a season 2, if they're going to just name drop a villain who's the villain of the story, I would love to see. So I was looking up like some Spider-Man Noir villains. Quentin Beck's Mysterio is a Spider-Man Noir villain, and I feel like that fits the era really well. If they're doing like this master magician, who's got this like old-timey magician vibe, actually doing like tricks with illusions and smoke and mirrors, literally, I think that's very, very fun. I know there was a storyline where their version, the noir version of Doc Ock, is actually like mind controlling people with like science and technology. So I hope that if they do it right. They practice restraint, which is now just like my Pee-wee's Playhouse like buzzword. But like, don't try and jump the shark. Just like do a thing and let it be fun, and let the season end with the ability to be like, cool, we're done. Or, oh, we'll go again. I just don't want them to like slap us all in the face with Marvel property overload in the first half of the season to be like, oh, you freaks wanted this, when like they don't. The freaks don't want that.
No, specifically me, the freaks. It's me. I don't want it. Yeah. I completely agree. I would take a season 2 of this if it maintains the 80% noir, 20% Marvel balance. I feel like, if we take the characters that we've met this season and we move to a new season and it's more comic booky in the sense of like, okay, we saw Silvermane get shot, but he's back as like the top of the mob boss. And maybe now he's like not a full ass robot, but maybe a little robotic. And we get Sandman
like a steampunk heart in like a steampunk heart and arm or something.
Yeah. And like, maybe we get Sandman back and he can double his size as a Sandy Man or something like that. I would be into seeing the world that has already developed get, quote, a little more comic booky, but I don't want a bunch of other characters. I don't want this to suddenly tie into something else. Like, it is so fucking nice to have a show that stands on its own, that does not need anything. You need no other context. You don't need to know anything else is going on. You don't need to know anything about any of the characters. You just sit down, watch 8 episodes, be done. That's awesome. I want more of that. And if they give us 8 more episodes of that, love it. If they give me 4 episodes of setting up a shit cameo that then piddles out for 3 episodes into a big CGI kaiju fight, I'm going to be mad. And it's Sony, and nobody knows what they will do. They did Kraven the Hunter, so who knows?
If they're going to do... So we keep saying 80-20, and I think that's pretty accurate overall, because there were some episodes where it felt like it was 90-10. There were some episodes where it felt like it was 70-30. I would entertain them ratcheting up the most Spider-Man-y episodes to like a 60-40.
Sure.
And I would deal with the whole season being like a 70-30 noir Spider-Man. But like you said, this is the same group that gave you Kraven, same group that gave us Morbius.
Yep.
I have so little trust and faith, but I mean, who knows? I like to think that Nic Cage has been so successful and around for long enough that he's got the people in his ears that are able to say, like, that's not good. Like, oh, don't do that. Don't agree to that. Like, unlike, oh shit, what was it? There was some actress that signed up for maybe it was someone who did Morbius.
Oh, are you talking about Madam Web? How Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney both thought it was going to be something completely different than what it was?
Yes, that's it. The Madam Web of it all, where they were like, oh, this is a Marvel property. They're like, Marvel property, hot damn. And they're like, oh. I feel like that Nic Cage has smarter people around him that could be like, hey, nope, don't put your name on that. Or Nic Cage agrees and says, like, fine, I'll do whatever the hell I want with this, but I'm going to keep acting the way I want to act. Like, I will decide the takes that are good, and it's going to be me being a little freak.
And, honestly, like, I would take, we're like 80-20 right now. I would take 70% noir, 20% Marvel, and then 10% more Nic Cage.
Yeah.
Nic Cage, I've always loved Nic Cage. He's been one of my favorite actors forever. But it's always really fun to see Nic Cage get to make weird choices in something that highlights those weird choices and shows off why they're cool. And I would take Nic Cage sitting down in a chair pretending to be a spider for seasons before I want to see the Green Goblin in this stupid show.
And like, they're gonna do something if they do it. And the Green Goblin in the noir universe is like a crazy mutated man who like rips his face off, like in the movie Face Off. And Great. If you're gonna give us that, like, lean into the bodily horror of it all, like they did with the mutated spider soldier. Like, don't shy away from it. Make it weird. Like, if you're gonna give us that, give it to us all. Make it weird. Just go with it. And just don't. I don't know. If they're gonna do it, don't be apologetic. Don't half-ass it. Go in and go.
Yep. Okay, so I've got a bonus question here for us at the end. Not even really related to Spider-Man Noir, just a quick discussion I wanted to have. I'll die on the hill that Marvel movies and TV shows are at their best when they hard commit to a style or genre. A point that I feel is perfectly proven by this first season of Spider-Man Noir. Todd, are there any other distinct styles or genres that you would like to see Marvel take a shot at?
Yeah, I'm going to take the quitter's way out and say you and I both enjoyed Werewolf by Night.
Oh,
and I obviously that was good. Not another movie that you could watch in black and white or in color. And it was contained. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I hope, there's a property called The Midnight Suns. that eventually, well, let's go back. So Blade, right? So there's a movie called Blade.
So there's this movie called Blade that's never coming out.
Yeah, well, there's only going to be one Blade. And so, I would love to see them take a page from Werewolf by Night and actually make the Midnight Suns movie like more horror, like scary. Like the things that they almost did with the Scarlet Witch in Multiverse of Madness. Like, yeah, keep the Avengers team up of it all. Like the heroes got to do their thing, but like lean into like scary horror, like nightmare stuff. And I think that the audiences would be into it. I think it would be a good time. Second answer, find a silly way to do something like the Spider-Man villain Big Wheel in a racing movie. Like give us an actual
dude.
Marvel thrill ride, Mad Max, like more than what they did in Deadpool and Wolverine, but like I don't know, a completely different set piece of like this is a thrill ride Mad Max world and that's what you got. But I can't name a second Marvel character in a vehicle other than Big Wheel, and he's
Ghost
more
Rider?
of a punchline than anything.
Ghost Rider? Ghost Rider has wheels.
You know what? I already said Midnight Suns. Suns.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I love both of those answers. I've got one for you that I think you're really going to like. What if we got a Marvel show that was about a team, whether it was like the Avengers with a Z, like the new Avengers, or if it was like, the kids, Kamala Khan and her buddies or whatever, like a group of superheroes. And it was a like documentary, What We Do in the Shadows, Parks and Rec style. And we got that for 10 episodes. Is that anything?
I would take, so we're going to get the Young Avengers or the Champions or whatever they're going to call them, whatever. I would so here's what I would say to that counter offer. They used to do those like mini movies, mini shows, mini episodes before like Marvel movies, like Thor's Big Day or like whatever. I would absolutely take like a 5-episode mini series of like exactly what you described, like the Avengers with a Z living in the Avengers HQ, like seeing that nonsense. Like I would absolutely take that. And I think that it would be easy to film, easy to digest, nice, fun filler stuff. Kind of like what's happening in their downtime. Especially like you said, if they do it from like Kamala Khan's perspective, because she's like perpetually online, both her character and her actress. And I think that would be fun filler, like good stuff to add in. I would eat that up.
And then my last one, which this is a hot take, and this is entirely for me, and everybody can be mad. We need a Marvel Studios Handycam movie. We need a Cloverfield. We need a full-ass 2-hour Marvel movie recorded on a Handycam. I want it. I want it desperately. I'll never get it, but I want it.
I feel like, hang on. I feel like someone else was telling me they also wanted that. No, I'm wrong. No one else said they wanted that. No one has ever said they wanted that. I love that for you. End of sentence.
Perfect. Well, I think the end of that sentence is a great place to end this podcast. So thanks so much for listening in to Avenge This, a show brought to you by the nerds that debate this. If you liked what you heard today, be sure to subscribe to the Avenge This podcast, where you can find recaps for movies and shows from the MCU, and also sometimes the DC stuff and whatever Amazon Prime's putting out. And quite frankly, whatever's on TV when we need to fill a podcast gap. That's what we're doing here on the Avenge This channel. Until next time, I'm Matt Cole.
And I'm Todd. With great power comes great responsibility, and there's no greater responsibility than stealing the Declaration of Independence. Thomas.
Hell yeah, brother. You can catch us next time when we talk about, I don't know, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, probably.